Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Miss Thato D. I make videos on motherhood here on YouTube, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and join our little YouTube family. In today's video, I just wanted to jump on here and share with you guys how I successfully weaned my baby off of the breast, and I just wanted to share with you guys why I did it, how I did it, and just my emotions and everything like that. If you are not familiar with my breastfeeding journey and everything like that, then please go to the description down below. I'll leave a link to my breastfeeding journey video. That is where I share everything in terms of how I got started in the beginning with breastfeeding and all that fun stuff. So I will start by saying that I am very, very aware that I am so fortunate to have been able to breastfeed my baby for a good 8 months. I know that this is not an option for other mamas out there, whether it is because of physical issues or emotional issues. I know that some moms really struggle with it and they don't have really a choice on whether they breastfeed or give their baby formula. And I'm very, very grateful that I was able to do that. So don't take this video in any way of me being ungrateful or me being naggy or complaining or anything like that. I am very grateful for the fact that I was able to do it. So I exclusively breastfed Maru for about I exclusively breastfed Maru for about 5.5 months. Just when I started giving him solids, he was 5.5 months, and that is when I started supplementing him with formula as well. It was kind of easier for him to take it then because he was now being introduced to different flavors or different tastes of food, so it was kind of easy for him to take formula then. I had tried to give him formula a few times before, but he completely hated it. He is in the background just screaming. I think he's going to come up in this video, so please bear with me. He is just so talkative these days, and in the beginning I had tried to give him formula like maybe 3 months or 4 months just to see if he would take it, and he absolutely hated it, and he did not even he would almost just become super hysterical and start crying. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to this baby. I think he fell. He fell. Oh, he fell. Yeah, basically he just hated formula. So we kind of then started just maybe mixing it. Like when we started supplementing, is we started mixing it with breast milk. And then just as the days went by and he started liking it, we started reducing the breast milk and ultimately just started giving him formula alone. So when I started supplementing him, I'll give him formula maybe a few times a day, and then usually like at night before he goes to bed and for his night feeds, I will breastfeed him and all that stuff. I'll say in the beginning, when I was pregnant, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed, but I knew that I was not going to breastfeed for the whole year. I just never saw myself like being the mom that's able to do that. And then after I had Maru and I started breastfeeding because I breastfed and I pumped at the same time. So with that, I just knew that I was not going to be able to sustain that for the whole year, but I was pretty determined to do it for the first 6 months at least. Exclusively, I wanted him to be on breast milk exclusively for the first 6 months, and I think I was able to achieve that, although I started mixing a little bit of formula just during that 6th month, during that 5th month and a half. I do feel like I did successfully give him breast milk. So around the 6th month, I just made a decision that I was going to wean him off of the breast. But little did I know that I couldn't just wean him off like abruptly. I had to gradually transition him because it was going to be physically painful, and it was also going to be very, very hard for him to adjust to just being on formula and not getting the breast. So I had to do it gradually. I will say that I underestimated how painful and annoying it is to wean a baby off of the breast. It is not an easy thing. Let me start by saying that I know that there's going to be some of you guys who are like, why did you stop breastfeeding? Like, if you were doing so well and you were having a good supply, like, why did you stop? I know that there are going to be those questions. I will say that there's a couple of reasons why I stopped. So the first thing I will say, it is tiring. It is tiring, guys, breastfeeding. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I think I watched an Instagram live once of Linda, I think Linda Mtoba or Linda Mtoba or something. I forgot her name, the girl from the river. And then she said that breastfeeding is like being pregnant all over again. And she is not lying, guys. It's a commitment. A lot of the things that you can't do when you're pregnant, you can't do when you're nursing. So there were medications that I couldn't take. There were skin products that I couldn't use. There was drinking I couldn't drink. I couldn't be away from my baby for a long time. I couldn't, I had leaky breasts. It was a lot, guys. So it was kind of like being pregnant all over again. And you guys know my relationship with pregnancy is not the best one, you know? So yeah, so it was really tiring. And also because I was pumping a lot, and I started pumping very early on in, after Maru was born, I had an oversupply. So with an oversupply, it means I had leaky boobs. I know some of you are like, an oversupply, girl, go off. It sounds like a good problem to have, and I know I'm very blessed to have an oversupply, but it was really annoying and so painful sometimes, because if I don't pump, then I am going to have engorged boobs, I'm going to have pain, I'm going to have discomfort, and I didn't have a choice at some point where I would have to pump even when I don't want to. So if I was away from my baby, it's not like I can't, you know, I'm off the breastfeeding hook. No. If I'm away from my baby, I had to pump. So I always find myself where I'm in situations whereby, let's say, I'm out with friends or I'm out with my partner or anything like that, I will have to excuse myself for a little bit and go to the bathroom to pump, or you know, just go somewhere private or go to the car to pump and stuff like that, because I would just get really, really uncomfortable. And it's a lot, guys. And when I'm home, I felt like I was either breastfeeding him or I was pumping. Like I was either doing one of the two the whole day. And for the first 6 months, it was fine and it worked, because it was something that like it was something that I knew that I had committed myself to and I was going to do. So it was fine. I had a good schedule of doing it. It was working really well for me. I used my breast pads and everything. So the oversupply issue was fine. I wasn't really struggling too much with it. I mean, I was struggling, and I just didn't want to complain too much about it, because of the fact that I knew that I was blessed to be able to breastfeed him. But then at that 6-month mark, I was like, okay, so I feel like I've hit the milestone, and I started weaning him off of the breast. So what I did was I started by stopping to pump. And guys, you don't just stop. Like, it's not easy. It is not easy to just stop pumping. Like I said, I had an oversupply. So if I stop pumping, that means I have to at least feed him every 2 hours. And by the time I stopped pumping, it was when Ru was taking solids. So he was not hungry much. So every time I would try to give him a breast to please relieve me, my child, he will be so uninterested in my breast that I'd have to at least pump for a little bit. So what I would do is I would not pump, but when I feel the discomfort being super, like a lot, I would pump a little bit, but not too much to empty the boob. I'll just pump a little bit to just kind of relieve a little bit of pressure. I would still feel the pressure, I'm not gonna lie, but it kind of helped for it to not be so painful. I'll still be a little bit uncomfortable, but I would be like, okay, no, I just have to endure this for a few days or a few weeks, and then I will be fine. After that, I was able to stop pumping, and I guess I had the discomfort for about a week or so, where my boobs would get engorged and I would have so much pain, but sometimes I couldn't even sleep. And there were times I would default back to just getting the breast pump and pumping, you know. but I successfully stopped pumping and I was better at it and it was fine. And I was like, hooray, one part of that is fine. And then it was time to wean him off of the breast. Now, if you know my child, you know that Maru was obsessed with my breast. Like, even when like we are just chilling and doing, he will just always be trying to grab it. Like, give me, give me, give me. Like, that was like how he was. He was obsessed with it. So I knew that it was going to be really difficult for him, and I felt really, really bad. And there were times when I felt like just like am I lazy? Am I not being a good mom? Am I not doing everything that I can to be like, am I not being the best for him, because I just, because the whole breast is best thing, there's this pressure for moms to breastfeed and to breastfeed for a year. That is what makes a good mom and stuff like that. So sometimes, yes, I did feel like, oh my gosh, is this me being lazy? Is this me being selfish? Is this me putting my needs ahead of my child's needs and stuff like that? There were times I felt like that, but ultimately I just knew that I was not happy, like breastfeeding was just not making me happy. So I had to make a decision that was good for me so that I can be a better mother. Because if I'm happy, then I'm able to be a better mother for my child. So it was really important that I was happy, and in that time, breastfeeding was kind of not making me happy. But I knew that it was going to be a difficult thing for him to transition. So I really tried to do it gradually. So what I did was I came up with like a schedule of when I was going to breastfeed and when I was going to give him formula. At this time, he was kind of accustomed to formula. This is like when he was about like 7 months old, right? At this time, he was like, he knew formula, he liked it, it was good, and he was not having any issues with it. He still preferred the breast, but he would not like fight it when you gave him formula. So what I did was I will give him formula like for the most part of during the day, and then at night before he sleeps I give him the breast, and for his night feeds I will still give him the breast, and for his morning feeds I will give him the breast. And then we had to go back to the pain of stopping to pump now, going through it where I'm stopping to breastfeed. And guys, it was so painful. It is not easy. Like, the discomfort of a full breast, mamas, a breastfeeding mom out there, the discomfort of a full breast is not nice, especially when you can't pump. When this is at the point where I've packed my breast pump and I've put it away, right? And then my breasts are engorged, and the only thing that can relieve them is to give my babies the breast or to pump. And I wanted to stop doing both, and it was not easy to just stay with engorged breast and the discomfort and the pain of it all. And oh my gosh, guys, I just had to endure it for a while before I could be able to actually feel better and be like, okay, now I feel good. There were times when I would be like, okay, no, I'm gonna pump, and then I'll pump. And there were times when I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna give him the breast, and then I give him the breast just because it was just that painful. It was just that discomfort. It was just that uncomfortable, and I would just be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Sometimes, if you follow me on Instagram, then you would see sometimes I would post where I'm pumping like at 2 a.m. in the morning. I literally would not be able to sleep because the discomfort would be so much. There was a point where now one of my boobs, which is my left boob, is fine. It's completely done. It's great. I don't have any issues. But my right boob is just not giving out. Like, it just still producing milk. It just won't stop. It just was so determined to produce milk, and it kept on producing milk for about like a week after my left boob was like out. So it's not the easiest thing to wean your baby off of the breast. It's a whole journey. It's a whole thing that you really have to just be committed to and all that stuff. And I am happy to say that 8.5 months later, he is completely off of the breast. He is completely on formula and he's doing great with it. He's growing, he's loving it. And he almost has forgotten. Okay, no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. I still see him just looking at my breast sometimes, like, there's that, I still see him doing that. And sometimes sometimes I'll take the breast off just to see what he's gonna do, and then he will just like give it to me. And there is some little bit of milk that's still coming out from my breast, but it's not enough to give him a full stomach. So I am happy. I am happy that I'm able to completely finish breastfeeding, and I can now just move on to other things and just be able to have a little bit of independence and have him have a little bit of independence and all that stuff. And as far as bonding, I know that breastfeeding gave us a good moment of bonding and stuff like that, but we bond so much with other things. Like, we play together all the time. I read to him all the time. We spend so much mommy baby time together that I don't think that he's going to miss out on the bonding thing with me, and I'm not going to miss out on it either, because I already feel like I bond with him so much, and I will never take away bonding with him. Never. It is like my favorite thing to do with him. Yeah, so that's what happened with as far as my breastfeeding journey and where we're at right now. I am proud of myself for having done it for this long and having been able to do it. It's always a very great feeling knowing that I'm able to not just create life, but also to sustain it, and having been able to sustain it for so long, especially with all of the issues that other mamas are facing in terms of breastfeeding, and for me to have been able to do it is an absolute blessing. So I do not take it for granted at all. I do understand though also, guys, that it's not a decision that everybody needs to make. Mamas, if you're out there and you're able to keep breastfeeding, you're able to keep pumping, then do what's best for you, do what's best for your baby, your lifestyle and everything. Just do you. Just don't get any kind of pressures from anybody else. Like, you know what works for you, you know what works for your baby, and you know what's best. You know what I mean? So don't put yourself under any kind of pressure to give your baby formula or to give your baby the breast. It's okay. For some people, breastfeeding just is not something that they can do for a long time, and I'm just one of those people, and I'm glad that I'm able now to, say that I breastfed and I successfully did it, and I'm proud of myself for it, and I'm done. All right, that's that with today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys come back in the next video. If you are not subscribed, please do subscribe. If you like this video, please hit that like button and comment down below. I love you guys so much. Thank you for the continuous support. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.